I'm Simon Bertz from Zurich. I play electrified drum set and DIY instruments. I play yesterday night here in this wonderful cinema, and I played around 30 minutes. An interaction between self-made DIY electronics and electrified drum set. The story about the electrified drum set is that I'm a drummer. I study at Drummers Collective in New York since 30 years more. And I have a drum school in Switzerland also, and I was every time interested in electronic music, early 80s, but I played a lot of rock and roll, funk, jazz. But even also every time with 19 I start to play improvised music. And after perhaps 7 years ago I start to develop my own instruments, influenced by Nicholas Collins. Nicholas Collins is a wonderful professor in DIY electronics. He wrote 2 books about circuit bending, and I realized that I can do my own instruments, also my own electronics. And this time, before I come to Nicholas Collins, I played a lot around with DJs and VJs and electronic guys, and made some weird experience about this MIDI controlled electronic stuff. Finally, it's very strong in Berlin, and I did some concerts with and record releases with Apparat from Berlin. And I realized that as drummer, my body doesn't want to be a part of this MIDI 16 subdivision notes and like a robot to beat every time, very, very stiff, this stuff. And so I realized that it has to be another way to make human-based interaction with electronics. Even it sounds to my ears the most electronic comes from which they come from the computer, are not in the quality like our ears are. So this experience with Nicholas Collins, that he showed me that I can soldering by myself, that I can open damaged electronics, and I can make sweat fingers and go inside and hear funny noises. This experience was for me really strong, and I start to play around with electronic stuff, with children instruments, and I had a lot of fun. But finally I missed a little bit my instrument, and in this case I realized I should go really for not a MIDI drum set. I should go for an electrified drum set. And I saw sometimes an example, Sonic Youth, and I saw, it was very important for me also, Young Gods and Queens of the Stone Age, and a lot of electronic musicians like Radian from Austria, and Norbert Möslang. These guys, they show me a lot of possibilities how you can interact the drum set and the power of electricity and the ghost between digital notes, to go for that, to make research what's between this digital stuff and what's the difference between to the analog stuff. And I realized that I'm completely grow up in the 80s and 70s, finally the 70s, and I was listening a lot of child to Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix and all these guys, and these guys, they only used analog instruments, analog feedbacks and analog guitars, analog effects. And so I decided I doesn't want to to make a connection to the computer. I would like to make research how I can amplify my drum set in an analog way. And so the first step was that I did a lot of experience with piezo microphones on the drum set, piezo microphones everywhere, and but then I started to electrify my sticks, and I made about 20 prototypes about what I can do with sticks. They have piezos inside or microphones and like that. And during a lot of doing researches, I found right now these sticks which correspond with the electronic stuff on my left side, also with my lot of children instruments and objets trouvés which I found in the garbage and get from friends. And behind me I have an MPEG, loud bass amp, that I can amplify my sticks very loud, the same loudness the drum is. And what I found out that my heads of the drum set and also the cymbals, they get feedback if I put my sticks on the drums. In this case, I figure out a completely new style of drumming, because if I play beats or improvisation stuff, it's normal. But if I stop and if I make a break, I put my sticks on the cymbal or on the heads, I get a feedback. And the feedback is a tone, and as a musician, as drummer, it's fantastic to play also with sounds and with tones. And it's still the beginning of a completely new research for myself, that I'm able to play tones on my drum set.